What if I told you that understanding the truth about market dynamics could guarantee your success regardless of the market's fluctuations? In today's unpredictable real estate landscape flooded with sensationalist headlines and media-driven hysteria, it's more crucial than ever to separate fact from fiction. Many agents fall prey to the media narratives, finding themselves chasing shadows and missing genuine opportunities. The agents who rise above truly thrive and understand market dynamics. They're not just reacting to media stories because they are grounded in the reality of the market. Too many agents cling to outdated strategies influenced by yesterday's headlines, convinced that they've got a pulse on the market. But the true game changers understand that the media, while informative, can sometimes distort market reality through exaggerated narratives. After years in the real estate game, I found out what works in every market. By the end of this video, I'll reveal the one thing that once mastered can make or break your real estate career. Let's upgrade your approach. In a seller's market, what you will find is agents telling sellers anything and everything they want to hear just to get the listing. And if things continue on an upward trajectory, it should sell almost no matter what you say. But the problem you create for yourself is that if the market changes even slightly, and you've literally offered the moon, and even if things have flattened out, you're going to be that one house that sits on the market for 2 to 3 weeks, which in a very hot seller's market is now a stale property when everything else is still selling at competing multiple offers. So you need to make sure that A, you have a really good listing presentation and that you follow a process no matter what's happening in the market, and that you also pay attention to the statistics, not just the headlines, and that you also pay attention to what's happening in the market today, because the statistics are often yesterday's data. But if you are active every single day in the market, you will have access to trends and data that the statistics will never be able to keep up with. In a buyer's market, what you will notice is agents telling their buyers that it is an absolute paradise. You should buy right now, and you get them all excited. But then what happens is you've got buyers with unrealistic expectations that are lowballing everything. And because there's so much property on the market, there's so much property to show a buyer. And when they finally come to the table with an offer, there's nowhere near any possibility that it's going to close, because of course they choose the one property out of the 40 that they looked at that is actually priced accurately, and then they want to lowball it again from there. What you'll also see agents doing is reluctant to list property sometimes because they say, well, nothing's selling in this market anyways, or what they tell their sellers is something along those lines that maybe they should wait. But with a really good marketing strategy, with a really good positioning strategy as far as pricing, and educating your clients on a regular basis, getting really good at updating them on the market so that you can adjust the price accordingly if and when it's time to do so, you can still win, and win big in a buyer's market working with listings, because no matter what, listings are the name of the game in this business. In a balanced market, you'll find agents saying things like, it is a waiting game. And on the buyer or the seller side, what can then happen is everybody becomes passive, and then what happens is you miss the boat. Whereas if you can, again, follow the market trends, follow what's happening through your experience on a regular basis in the market, you will be able to identify certain pockets of the market that will be more leaning towards sellers, and certain pockets of the market that will be more leaning towards buyers, because there's no such thing as perfect balance. It might be generally balanced overall, but there's always going to be leanings from this way or that depending on what area and what product type you're looking at. the stagnant market. This is probably my favorite because you know what? The best agents are made in the off season, folks. But remember, we've seen this happen earlier this year in January and then again recently this fall, where even though there's not enough listings out there, because the market's changing so dramatically due to interest rates, you see some buyer hesitancy, even though the statistics should show that it's a seller's market. So you don't see enough listings, but also for some reason you don't see sales. But what I know as a real estate agent is that there are people in the market who need to buy and who need to sell. And when there is no activity, I feel the water behind the dam continuing to raise up. And you'll hear agents say, I'm only gonna run, or I will for sure run as far and as fast and as hard as I have to when I have clients that need me. But guess what? Your clients need you the most when the market is changing dramatically, because they hear from the media these big major headlines, and you need to be the voice of reason and the voice of truth that can be the calming force in the transaction, or the calming force when it comes to their understanding of the market, so that even though there isn't transactions happening today, if you are working tirelessly to keep every single person in your network updated on what's happening in the market, then guess what? When the dam opens, the floodgates will open and you will have a huge surge in business that will more than make up for those averages for when times were stagnant. And it's usually a short-term period of time because people can't speculate and play the market for only so long, because they have a genuine need and urge in the marketplace. No matter what, there's always the law of averages. People need to move for a variety of reasons. So what is the media's role in the real estate market? I think the media's role in general is to educate the public on what's happening in the world, but are they real estate experts or not? I think we all know the real true answer to that. But what we do know is the market, in essence, any market, is really just simply supply and demand, which is human behavior towards what they want or need during a given time for a given product. So now if we know that the market is responding to a factor in the economy, on one hand, the media is here to portray the truth to the public. On the other hand, the market itself is some sort of behavioral response from people regarding a certain product at a certain time. But what does end up happening is, because the media influences the public in such a way, it can oftentimes sway the market one way or another because of the people's response to the media, not necessarily the people's response to what's accurately happening in the market today, which creates somewhat of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you really look at the fundamentals at any given period of time and you identify what is the average income in this market, what is the average price in this market? Does one support the other? In Saskatchewan, yes, it does. Look at the unemployment rate. Is it good or bad? You look at the job market. Are there a variety of industries and options for people to live here? And as a result of that, what is the population growth for the market that you are in? And what is the infrastructure happening for construction in terms of transportation in your area? Because anytime there is road construction for a significant improvement in transportation, you will see prices of homes in that area going up thereafter. And are millennials being pushed out of houses? We know this. Roughly 30% of all the homes don't have mortgages on them, which are essentially conservative baby boomers who bought early and stayed there, and they don't have a mortgage. They've paid it off. Then you also have 30% roughly of the total mortgage holders that bought some point recently when the prices have gone up. Now, these are single family homeowners. A lot of them are millennials. And then you'll have another 30%, which are essentially tenants. But we also know that investors own those properties, and a good portion of those properties that are rented as investments have mortgages on them. And as a result of all of these, we know that house prices themselves are largely based on mortgage holders' ability to pay their mortgage. And with a lot of renewals coming up here in Canada, we know there's going to be a certain portion of people that need to move or downsize, And a certain percentage of people, if they don't have equity and they can't close in a reasonable amount of time and they get behind on their payments, we know that we're going to see some additional foreclosures as well. It's super funny that people often blame the government for what's happening in the economy today. And yes, there is massive amounts of incompetence in the political scene, but there have always been massive amounts of incompetence in the political scene. And my solution to this is, no matter what's happening, focus on what you can control, roll with the punches, because yes, sometimes government policy does affect what you can and cannot do. But at the end of the day, we live in one of the best countries in the world, if not the best country in the world. So really, what else better could there possibly be? There's always room for improvement, but focus on what you can control. And you should know that no matter what's happening in the real estate market, people will always be moving due to a job loss, job transfer, retirement, empty nesters, growing family, death in the family, newlyweds, divorce, etc. And because of that, the new construction market, yes, can be a little bit more cyclical, but the resale market is always going to have strong supply and demand no matter what, just because life happens. So if you focus on your efforts and you track your metrics to make sure that you're always engaged in income producing activity as a real estate agent, regardless of which of those 4 markets we are currently in, over time, the law of averages will always work in your favor. If you always do the right thing on a consistent, regular basis, you will be in the right time, at the right time, in the right place more often. Do what you're supposed to do. I hope you found value. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on this video next.